So how do we help with asset inventories? This was one of the first places that we started with in the warehouse inventory. Prior to having our full-on system, what we would do is we'd have the ability to go out, take pictures of the actual items, be able to put their item number, the quantity, and the location in, be able to provide that information back, which would be usually in an Excel format for them, as well as add those pictures in to be able to provide them both a look in at the actual product, but also all the pertinent information. And so that allows us to be able to do a count without a necessarily system blend of counts or added information. So there's two kind of ways that we can look at making sure we minimize that operational effect on them. If we can do it on a weekend, we'll try to do that. That's usually when people have a limited amount of operation going on. Or we can usually piece it together where we take certain areas of their warehouse that they can shut down for a period of time while we're getting a count. Now, what that allows us to do is, again, be able to move into different areas, but not affect their warehouse or their operation too much and have to shut down for 2 to 3 days, which time is money, and we want to make sure that we don't take up too much of the customer's time or money. So some of the challenges that we see when doing a asset count is depending on whether or not the information that we've got matches up completely with what we see out in the warehouse, which was why we do that planning phase that we talked about to make sure that we mitigate some of that. But sometimes there is in warehouses lots of freight that don't actually get into your inventory system, and so we'll usually have to deal with that. But that's the great thing about being able to take pictures and be able to provide that to the customer, because then they can add that into their inventory. Another thing that we typically see is hidden rooms, hidden things that might not have made it, again, to their inventory that our team has to work through. The pictures might line up, and we've got to make sure that we can provide that to the customer. The file gets pretty big, so that's one thing that we have to do to kind of mitigate some of the storage that they need to be able to have that information. Usually when we do an asset count, we staff it with an actual data collection person, a professional or technician that we have that will usually, once that information comes in through our system, can now start stripping out some of the maybe access information or information that is not accurate with what they have in their system, make sure we don't have any redundancy or missteps in collecting some of that data, streamline it, make sure that everything is lining up and taken care of. So that person's solely dedicated to cleaning up the data to be able to present that to the customer. And then we can also go back and do recounts or whatever issues that we find, we can go recollect that information so that we give the best product to the customer.